This is issue number 8 for the Keiju Engine, and that is going to be for keyboard input with the Windows. So one of the first things I wanted to do was make it so that the mouse button ID came to the top, just because I think it would be nice to have a union between the mouse button ID and the key and the C++ code. So we'll go to the windowing, and we will, instead of unioning with mouse X, we'll union with the mouse button ID. That looks nicer to me, kind of separates out those. And this union seems a little bit more organic in that form. So now if we come up here, I'm just going to put this at the top just so it's there. Then the button ID should be also good to go on the X11 code. Button ID. Yep, it's manually assigned, so we should be good to go. I'll put this at the bottom just to match the structure. Weird OCD on that, I guess you could call it. Okay, so let's start off with creating what is the keyboard and the HID, the Human Interface Device package, keyboard.go. So we're going to we're going to create a couple of types. We're going to have a type key state is explicitly set to an int, and a type keyboard key. So we want to abstract out what a keyboard key is and not have it platform specific. And this will allow us to identify that. So let's create a keyboard left alt. I just have this out here because I wind up using this for debugging and things like that. So I may join it with other constants later, but I'm going to have it there just to be explicit. Key state up. I to A. Actually, this is probably from SDL. Now that I think about it. So we'll just leave the alt state off and we'll come back to it. So we have up, down, held, and idle. And then we have another one. This one is specifically for phones with software keyboards. I guess it could also apply to, say, Windows or any other desktop operating system software keyboard, where there's often a key state pressed and released. So this is where the software keyboard will report that a key has been pressed. That means it was down and up. It doesn't. You don't have, for example, on Android, if you press and hold the A or press down on the A, it doesn't. You don't get any event for when the A is pressed and when it's released because it's a software keyboard. You just get, hey, A was pressed and released, no matter how long they held down on A or anything like that. So that's what that one is for. So now we're going to set up all of our keys. So we're going to start off with keyboard key, and we're going to start with invalid. It is -1 plus I to A, so or iota, sorry, plus iota. This just starts it at invalid at -1 and then counts it from there. Then I like to do the modifier keys, keyboard key. I'm just going to copy that. Left alt, right alt, left control or CTRL, right CTRL, and then left shift, right shift. Those are right. Excuse me. So now we're going to do keyboard key A. Nope, just A, B, C, D. In fact, I'm just going to paste this. That'll be E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. I'll just hit caps lock. E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. I have to keep hitting escape. S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. So that'll give us all of our standard keys for the letters. And now we'll do keyboard key left, up, right, down, escape, tab. These are in no particular order, by the way. Space. These are just how the order I kind of typically do them. Backspace, and we're probably going to miss some keys, especially for other platforms. We can always come back and add those to the end. Back, quote, delete, return, enter, comma, period. Then we do backslash, backslash, /, open bracket, close bracket. And then we have a semicolon, quote, equal, minus, and then we're going to do keys 0 through 9 and num key 0 through 9. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then num key, or keyboard num key 0 through 9. And then we'll do the F1 through F12 keys here. I think Macs have F13 also. But we can come back and add that. Caps lock is fine. Scroll lock, num lock, print screen. A lot of these I don't really use. Insert, home, page up, page down, end. And we'll just end it here for now. Maximum. Okay. So that sets up a lot of our keys. Now we're going to set up a callback for when a key is pressed. Key callback struct. The ID of ID int, the ID of it, and the function, which is going to have the key ID and the key state. Then we're going to set up a type for the keyboard, and the keyboard is going to have key states, keyboard maximum, uint8. We're just going to take up 1 byte for each of the key states. Next, callback ID. This is so that we can increment the callbacks, and then key callbacks is going to be an array of key callback. Just so it's a little faster to iterate. We're not going to be, if we find ourselves adding and removing key callback events on update loops, we'll probably want to update this to be some kind of mapping, but that's not typical. Func new keyboard, and then we're going to add a keyboard, and this one does not have to be an address. Did I spell that right? Yeah, why is this a lowercase? Because autocomplete from the AI is not very wise. Okay. So now we're going to have the add key callback function. Func k keyboard add key callback. The callback that we want, and it'll return the int of the callback. This is going to be, we're going to increment to the next one because we don't want to start at 0. Although I sometimes do like to do, hold on, let's callbacks just started at 1. And also I want to initialize my callbacks. So now what we'll do is we have this gets moved down to the end. And we're going to set up the ID is equal to the current callback ID, so that we're working this way. And then we're going to return ID at the end. It's just a preference of mine. So next we're going to have the remove callback. Oh, and by the way, the key state that we start off with is key state up. We probably want to start off with key state idle. So I'm going to move that one to the top. And we'll have down held up. Okay. So that way when we create a new keyboard, this array just starts off all as idle. So now we're going to do remove callback. Let's see if it guessed it right. Here's the ID. We're going to go through the callbacks if the ID matches. So the order of the callbacks shouldn't matter, or I don't want people to have to care about that. So what we're going to do here is the same kind of swap to the end and reduce. So we're going to say last is equal to the last callback, and then let's see, last, the index becomes index last, and then we want to shrink it. Just so that we're just trimming off the end, it's going to be a little bit more performant, even though this shouldn't happen very often. I like to do that as a paradigm. So next is we're going to have the key up, key up, key int bool, and this doesn't need to be a pointer because we're just returning whether the key is up or not. Then we're going to have one for down, so guess that right. Then we're going to have one for held. So held, we're actually going to make it a little bit more complicated than that. We're going to say if the key is down, it's considered held, or if the key is held, it's considered held, or if it's pressed and released, it's considered held, because that's similar to down. Oops, this is go, so it wants that to be at the end if we're going to wrap lines. So now we're going to have a control. So this one is just helpers to determine whether we are holding modifier keys. So we want to say if it's left control or right control. Yeah, if they're down, we're going to change this to held because down is just a single frame. And we're checking in held whether it's down as well. So now we're going to add shift and alt in that order, just because that's the order I like to do it. Okay, chose held correctly now. Now we need the end update, just like in the mouse, to do any cleanup stuff that we're doing. And update. For I is equal to 0, I is less than keyboard or maximum I plus plus, and I could do a range loop here, but we'll just leave it as is. Key states I. If the case is, we're going to say key state down, then we're going to do k.key states I is held. So we're swapping it to held. If it's held, then we're going to do k.do key callbacks I key state held. We're going to probably need to do something similar for the down as well. Key state up, the key states becomes idle at the end of this frame. And then if it is press and release, we're going to do I'm going to bring that keyboard state thing on all the other states or cases. So this is going to go to idle. So let's bring this up here, bring this down, bring this down. So we want to say key state held here, key state down here. Oh, it's not down here. Oh, no, these get called when they happen. So this is correct. And this last one is going to say press and release. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back to press and release on that event and figure out when we're gonna do it. It's probably gonna be similar to when we do key state down. Okay, so let's do the do key callbacks, the one that we're expecting here. Let's see, make sure this is right. Go through the keyboard callbacks. Callback, function, key state, state. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. Now we need the functions to alter these states. Keyboard set key down up, key int. If key is not equal to invalid, I don't want all this, I just wanted that. K.key states key is equal to key state pressed and released. And then we'll do k.do callbacks, press and release. So if key is not equal to keyboard key invalid, do we not have an invalid key? Keyboard key invalid. Oh, we need to set our types for these keyboard keys. So we have keyboard key here, so put that there. Keyboard state here. There we go. Make sure that we're passing the right things in. So this can be keyboard key, keyboard key, keyboard key. And we want to go up here and change this to keyboard key state is a uint8. And then we want to put key state there. Okay. Keyboard key. Okay, I think we're looking good now. Okay, so we did the down up, that's for the software keyboard. Now we're going to do the down. Down. And that one is going to be if the key is not invalid, key state down, do the callback. Okay. Then we're going to have key up, which is going to be the same thing. And then we're going to have some conversion to characters next. So we're going to do func k keyboard key to char key keyboard key. Now we're going to return it to a room. I guess this should actually be called key to rune. I was called key to char because that's kind of what I called it way back in my C code. So let's do a switch on the key. And this one I'm just going to write out and we can scroll through. Okay, so here we have your typical A through Z. Then we have space, backquote, comma, period. I'm actually going to change this to a capital S on backslash or forward slash and backslash. So we got our brackets, terminators, numbers, and all of those. And then we're going to say that we're going to do another check to see if if we have a rune, or we're going to cast this as a rune to say that we have gotten a character from the previous one. So if there was no valid key put in, then this won't happen, and F is just a null character. But otherwise, we're going to cast F as a rune, which is just a null character. And if we have shift, we're going to do capital for A through Z. That's what the minus 32 is. This is just in the ASCII range. This is technically not correct for other languages. Actually, I think rune has a capitalization. Rune dot was it runes dot cap to upper, not upper, nope, strings dot upper. Okay, so strings has an uppercase, so strings dot to upper C. This is what our f is going to be equal to, and include the strings package. Did it not include it? It did. It's right there. Oh, this is going to return a string, so we just want to get the rune from this. Zero. Well, I think the easiest way is to do rune 0. There we go. And that'll do the capitalization if available on those other languages. But we do want to do this switch first to see if it is one of the special kind of modifier keys. So we're going to move this up actually. So we're going to check those. And then in the default case, we will do our capitalization code. Cool. So that's our big conversion for that. So with that, our keyboard structure and code is all done. As far as the the abstraction of it, we now need to actually do the events in the window. So what I typically like to do for this is I like to have a keyboard, let's say keyboard.win32.go package HID, and I like to have a function here to stub things in, a func keyboard key ID key, and then we can just pass in some number from somewhere. Of course, this is going to be the Windows version of a key, and then we're going to do a switch on that key and determine which key it is and convert it from we're going to convert it from the system to the to our engine code version of a key ID. So I should probably call this, because this is an HID, it should be HID to keyboard key, and we'll call this native key to be a little bit more explicit, and this will then return a keyboard key, and the default will be invalid. Okay, and we're just going to essentially fill this out with what we get from the Win32 API. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring over this page here, which has all of the keys. And to make this easier, I'm just going to go through this page and add them into the code, and we'll take a look at how it winds up. Just to show what this process is like, I've pasted all of the keys in, set up the cases, and then I'm going in and typing in the key IDs. And again, we can generate the code for this, get some actual defines, but this is just how we're going to do it for now. Doing all that generated code is a nice beautification that can be done a little bit later. So yeah, I'm essentially going in here. We have a left shift here. So here's a left shift. We're going to just copy that, paste it, right shift, copy that, paste it. That's what I'm going to go through here. So as I'm going through here, it looks like the function keys go up to 24, actually. These just increment by 1 as we go. We'll see what it is in X11 if they even have those. But I think F12 is kind of our least common denominator. But yeah, there are other keys that we're missing. We're not going to go through all of them, just the primary ones for now. Okay, so I've got a couple I don't have an answer for. For example, return and enter. I'm thinking of a return on the numpad and enter on the main area of the keyboard. Those two, this is probably where scan codes are become useful. Another thing is called the back quote. It also could be grave accent. Oh, I want tilde, approx. I don't know. I don't know exactly what their naming is. And there's a lot of things here to kind of go through, read through. So to solve some of these ones where we don't exactly have the known value on hand, we'll just type in directly in the window and see what it is in the debugger and just go from there. It'll be a lot easier than going through each and every one of these to try and find what I'm looking for. Oh, I just found this one. So used for miscellaneous characters. So this will be our back quote. And let's see if it has. Yeah, okay. I just thought about actually using the key itself and going with that. So that'll be quote semicolon. Oh boy. Okay, that solves all of those except for the enter key. So for the enter key, actually enter is the standard one. So I'm gonna figure out what the return one is separately. I don't have a numpad on this keyboard. I have a loose numpad somewhere, so I'll have to try that out at some point. So I'll just put a to do in here. To do figure out key or ID for numpad return. And cool. So that will solve that one once we get to it. And now we have all the keys set up on Windows so we can convert them from the Windows ID to our internal ID. So to go about that, we're going to go over to the Win32 dot. Go. Oh no, we don't need to. We need to explicitly put this behind a Windows. Go build Windows. And now with that set to go build Windows, we're going to go to the windowing.go, window.go. And when we have a process mouse event, we can have a process keyboard event, w.process keyboard event, evd type. So let's just copy this, paste it down here, copy the name. So now we're going to have, we need to add in a couple extras. These are all the mouse ones. We want to add in EVT, we'll say key down, key up. And we don't need key held. We're just going to have key down and key up. We're going to control the held internally as we saw in the code. So now we can, just going to put that right up there and go down to our new thing here. Switch event type, key down. And then we're going to use our new function, our HID.to keyboard key. And from this keyboard event, we're going to have the key. So ke.key. Okay, and this is going to just turn into key. And then we're going to set down the key. And this is going to be keyboard. Okay. Just copy this, paste this, and key up. Now we're going to create a keyboard as part of the structure. Keyboard, keyboard. Okay. So lastly, we need to actually send that the event, the key that's being pressed from the C code, which is going to be, ignore these red squigglies. It's not happy with me for some reason, probably because I have to tell Visual Studio Code where the standard library is and all that sort of stuff, the Windows library. So down here where we do the messages and we have mouse move, left button, mouse, all these others, we have a case for, oh, actually we do need to do a wheel. Let me just to do add wheel code break. Okay, so now we're gonna have a key down and key up. Sys key down, this is probably like a scan code. So I don't know if this is correct. I'm going to look at the documentation to see if this is how we pull the key ID. So let's pull over this guy here. This is the documentation I'm looking at, just for key down. The rest should be pretty much the same. The W param is the virtual key, so it's the virtual keys are the ones I think we were dealing with previously. Virtual key codes. This is the one we were dealing with. The table. Um, so we'll be using the W param here. The L param represents the repeat count scan code. So we're going to have the scan code. That is probably one we're going to want to get. And the scan code are these bits. But luckily, we can just work with the W param for now. So W param is directly equivalent to that key ID. So that's what we have here. The key ID is W param. Key down. What is it coming on? What is going on here? We don't need that because we get the event. We're already passing the event type down. I want to look up what syskey down is, since that was one that popped up randomly. Okay, this looks like it's specific to certain key combos for system stuff. I don't think we're going to need this. We'll focus on getting the scan code in, probably separately, but right now we'll just do the virtual keys. So I'm going to delete these two down here. Okay, so that'll give us our key, and we can use our fancy method to see if it works. So we have a keyboard to char, and we can just work with that for now. See process keyboard events, pull. Okay, if we process the keyboard event here, we're just going to do format dot print line w.keyboard dot to key to rune and key. And this, I don't think this needs to be a member function, honestly. This takes in the key. So we're just gonna delete that and have it as a package function. So HID key to rune. And we'll see how that looks. And if it builds. So we got an error here, undefined K. Just copy this, go there. Get rid of this. K. Oh, K hash. Oh, that's why. That's why it was a member function. We needed to see if we're currently holding shift. Okay, that's reasonable, I suppose. Let's bring this back. Maybe we can pass that in or something, but it's fine for now. Okay, we're going to go to this one. Why do I keep getting this? Oop. No, it didn't do it again. I kept the colon. I don't want the colon. Get rid of the colon. Go there. Key parameter. That's probably because these are different types. It'd be great if I actually read the... Oh, it's not key ID. It's probably just key like it suggests. So I might actually change that to key ID. So let's go to windowing H, and instead of key, it's key ID because this is button ID. So let's keep those consistent. Let's try that. So we have our window here, and we're going to do, see if we get any keyboard. Well, we're not getting any keyboard events. So that's no good. Let's see if we're getting anything when I press a key down. Let's go to window go. Yeah, here when we press key down. Oh, we're going to get events for, this gets called whenever we do mouse events too. Okay, we are not getting the key down events. We may need to tell Windows to filter for those. I know we do for X11. So let's see if we need to do anything like that. Okay, I went through and I printed out this guy, and I also realized that I'm not initializing my structure here, so it has garbage data, which is probably the problem. We can see if that makes it happy. Okay, that did not make it happy. So we gotta see what further is the problem. Okay, I moved the print down inside of the key down, key up. So we are seeing that 56 and 256 and 257 pop up in there. So it's definitely getting down into the key down, key up, and assigning the keyboard key. So there's something else that is amiss here. Oh, I don't think I bound it. So I use these guys to bound it here, to bind it here. So I need to bind the other cases instead of window go. So case, for example, oh, sorry, not here. This is the wrong place. Um, I've got to convert to this value to say that it is this guy. Um, okay, so over here in the Win32 to event type, I need to do case 256 is going to be the key down, and 257 is going to be key up. So I got to bind those two so they'll get returned correctly. And then now we're getting our breakpoints here. A, B, C, yeah. So now we're getting all of our keys. So sweet. That's converting it to a rune, but we probably want to convert that rune to a printable character instead of just a number. So I think we do a print format %C, is it? I know that's what a character is in C code. Yeah, there we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now we're going to hold Shift and try that. We're holding Shift. Yep. I'm holding Shift and I'm not getting capital letters. Let's see if we can get the other characters. Grave, and then I'm just gonna pull my finger all the way to the equals and take a look at that. Grave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 minus equals. We're gonna do left bracket, right bracket, slash, forward slash, period, comma. I think that, insert home. Oh, these aren't gonna show up as text. Cool. So, which one did I say wasn't working? Oh, Shift. When I hold Shift, Shift A, S, D, F, those should be capital letters. So we can come into the to rune and we have has shift. So let's just put a break here and see what it thinks the shift is. Shift A. Keyboard key. I guess what's better is if I just say key down. Key down. This one. So I don't know why I stopped running. Key down. Oh, am I not key held? Why is this one grayed out? Could not find. Is this not being used? No, it's not. Oh, this is if I want to check a key down. Set key down. Set key down. This is what I want. Oh, let's set key up. Set key down. Apparently I'm not calling set key. Oh, this is key down up. I probably should find a better name for that. But anyways. Okay, press shift. The key that's coming in is -1. So when we went to the to keyboard key, we were not getting the correct value. So let's put one in here, left shift. Native key is 16. So that should be 0x. Hold on, let's see where there's shift. Yeah, 0x A0. 6. Which one does it think it's going to? None of them? It's going to default. when it should be going here. Dude. Let's just continue. Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out real quick. All the other keys are fine. Am I blanking right now? Oh, should this have been, oh, 0A. Why was it A0? Let's make sure this one is correct then. No. Right shift. Oh, gotta put my brake back in. Right shift. Oh, right shift is also virtual key 16? Interesting. What was I looking at? That had those as different numbers. Okay, so in this chart it says the shift is 0x10, and then it says the left shift is A0 and A1. So that's strange. I might just deal with scan codes if this is going to be the the way that it's going to work on me. Yeah, I don't like this. So I'm probably going to replace what I have with the virtual keys to being with scan codes. I tried to look for scan code, Windows scan codes. I didn't get it very easily because I just wanted a list of the same kind of list uh, in that documentation, just so that I know it's exact. But since I didn't get it, I'm probably going to debug, press each key and the order that I see them, and then just work with that, the list of numbers that it prints out. Okay, I really don't want to deal with OEM stuff and determining which one to support, but I did see that there's a 24th bit in the L param that indicates if it's an extended key, like right hand, it uses Alt and Control, but there's also a Shift over there. So let's go ahead and check this bit to see if we can swap the Shift key. And we'll just set that to the next integer inside of our union. So we'll make another union here for the X and the unrelated int32 key state. I'll just call this, I could pass the entirety of the L param, but I'm just to keep it cross-platform. I'm just going to say right mod or something like that. Key right mod. Let's try that. Key right mod. And we can make other uses of that if we need to. So here in the key down and key up, we're going to say ie.keyWriteMod is equal to, is that correct? No, get key state VKR shift. Interesting. Might look this up online and see what it says it is. Okay, based on the documentation, we're looking for the 24th bit, which is going to be 80,000 and hex. 80,000? 1, 2, 3, 800,000. Obviously not 800,000, but red is 800,000 in decimal. So let's just say this is equal to the L param and actually we can shift this. I mean, I could shift this to the right by 24 and 0x01 here to say whether it's a right mod or not. So this will become either a 0 or a 1. And we're just making the order of operations explicit here, which I guess I could do without the outside parentheses. Okay, so that should give us a right key mod whenever we have that shift. So we have key right mod. Let's go back into our Win32. No, where was that at? Window go to keyboard key. Yes, we want to convert it. So this should get our key, and I'm just gonna cheat a little bit here and we'll figure out where to put this later. So if the key is case HID dot, what is it gonna do? Left alt. Actually, we're gonna say if ke dot key right modifier is not equal to 0. Attack key right mod to keyboard event. Oh, we didn't add it in here. Key right mod. It's gonna be N32. So if it's not 0, then we know it's gonna be right. Or if it is equal to 1, I guess we can say that's what we're gonna do. We'll have to change that if we turn that into a bit set. So if it's left shift, it becomes right shift. If it's a left control, it turns right control. If it's left alt, it turns into a right alt. This is because of the IBM key standards there. Okay, so that should flop them, and we can probably do something magical here. Rather than doing it inside of that, we can make a function. Func key k keyboard event. The key is just an integer. So make right mod keyboard key. So HID keyboard key. I'm going to take in a key HID keyboard key. I'm just moving this over here to make this simpler. Oops. So we're going to return, and default return key. Oh, no, we can just get rid of the default and return key. Okay. So we have this make right mod. Instead of putting it here, we can say it's equal to HID to keyboard key int key. And this can be keyboard key. And KE key instead of KE key. Oh, we don't have to pass in the key. We have the key, silly me. K.key. K.key. And, or I'll just make key is equal to HID keyboard. Oh, no, we do have to pass in. I was right. We have the key, but we want to convert the key and then we want to convert it again. A little messy, but what can you do? And if I want to do that, I can say this. Make, say, try right mod. Since it may not actually do right mod. Key, set key down. Instead of doing it here, I'll do it here. Just because I do like a little less less parentheses on an assignment like this. Okay, put this this guy in here. Okay, cool. So now let's see what happens when we do the left and right shift. No member named mouse X. This is likely because we changed our union. Now we got to put a terminator. Okay, left shift A, right shift. Neither of those are working. So also I think I removed my print for the key for, oh no, I didn't use a print. I used a breakpoint. Okay, after some goofing around with this, I found that the right control is working. So shift doesn't set this bit. The alt and the control do. Secondly, when I press alt, I'm not actually getting into this key up and key down state. So the two alt keys are not currently working there, and I'll need to figure those out as well. Okay, for the alt keys, I realized that I had I could bring these back and check them. So these brought back these made the alt keys work. So alt key mystery solved. Still going to work on right mod, how it pertains to the shift, and how it pertains to the alt, because the alt is not coming out with the result I expect from it, although the control is. Okay, it would help if I printed out the correct bit mask here. So now with this, the weird. Now with that, the right control, right alt, those correctly have this set, but shift is not relenting in this behavior. All right, I just looked at what other people do. It looks like the extended works fine for these, for like control, alt, and menu, which I was pressing the menu key and it was working properly. But it looks like we need to call map virtual key for the left shift scan code to see if it converts it over. So unfortunately, that means we are going to have a special case for our shift key. I don't know what map virtual key is going to wind up doing to our code, to our other key codes. Oh, they pulled the scan code here by its bit mask. So we'll do the same. And we only really need to do that if we're dealing with the shift. So I just copy their vk shift case, or let's say if the msg.w param is equal to the shift, then we're going to get the scan code and do the mapping for it. Else we are going to do this guy, and we'll do the right key mod. That unfortunately means that shift is going to act differently than the other ones. So yeah, we may unify them at some point, but this looks like probably what we're going to have to do. And this is going to have to be message.lparam to get that mask. I use capital Fs. All right, I'll print these out and see what we get. Actually, I'm not going to print them out. I'm going to go to this guy and bring back the R shift. And in this case, we're going to use the virtual keys. If you remember, there's an A0 and A1 here. So we're going to use A0 for left shift and A1 for right shift, because that mapping should convert those two. I could put breakpoints here and see if we hit them. Okay, left shift, that one hits the left shift. And now right shift, that one hits the right shift. Cool. So that solves those guys for us. And I think that covers all the stuff we worried about. Let's check to make sure that the right control and the right alt are also coming across correctly when we do the conversion here. So we don't need left shift, we need right control and right alt. So we'll put those in and let's try them out. So right control does not work, right alt does not work. Fantastic. Guess we'll need to see what it doesn't like about those. Okay, I just realized that we do have these extra codes here that I was dealing with, so I probably can map these two the same way I'm doing the shift over here. So um, let's just try it. If it's this control, technically if it's also menu, that's getting too many OR statements, so I'm just going to do a switch. C.W param. I'm going to say case this and this and this and alt. Is alt even an option? Let's see if alt's an option. Okay, menu is alt, not the key that brings up the little context menu. So if it is any of these, we shall do this code. And then default, we're going to default to this code. And I guess the beautiful thing about that is we actually don't need this key mod write anymore. That is handled for us in the virtual key mapping. So let's get rid of, means I don't need this function, don't need this union. Okay, I just delete this whole block and simplify this. Cool. Now let's just try this out and see if we hit the Alt and the Control keys. I put some breakpoints over there. We'll see if we hit them. So let's do, oh, maybe I'll remove my breakpoints. Okay, joke's on me. If I press right Control, it still comes in as 162, which will go into the left control. So rather than dealing with that madness and putting the code back in for that union, we're just going to come over to our Win32 and we're going to make a special one for shift, special one for control, where we are going to check that that parameter here and swap them. Yep, that's exactly what I wanted to do. And same thing here. Cool. And that should solve our problem, albeit not very pretty, but you know, what can you do? Windows does that to you. And now we want to go over and check our breaks, right control. Now the native key is coming in as 163. We should hit this guy, which we do. And we're going to do the right alt, not coming in at all. It's not even hitting this guy. Alt is the bane of my existence. Okay, that's because our event key down is on a system here. So we have key down, key up, but we also need to accommodate the sys key up and sys key down. So let's go to the sys key down. We'll just copy this guy. Case this, fall through to the key down, and case this. We're going to fall through to this one. That should get our alts showing up correctly, since they're on a special separate key binding. Okay, so something's happening. We just don't have our breakpoints in. Again, let's find where that code was. Window.go. Okay, here we are. So now left alt is correctly coming in. So let's put our breaks here. There's our left alt, and then right alt comes in to the right alt. Okay, so that covers Windows, and we have it pretty much functional, albeit there may be some hidden bugs there that we've got to individually spot check. Okay, now for X11, which should be way easier, we have a key press and key release. We just need to set up this to send the key, and we have most of the other code in place to finish off for X11. I'm going to do it here on my Windows machine and test it out on Linux. So here it says 6502. That's why it hasn't been doing the syntax highlighting like it was doing for the other stuff. So I can do C there. That's how I solved my problem on this other one, although I put C++ rather than C. Okay. Cool. So here, instead of the key press, we're going to use a built-in function for getting the key symbol. And from my understanding, this is the same as like a virtual key. So we say key ID. We can do EX key code. Possibly. I don't know what that is. I'll have to look that one up. The other one is IE.keyID is equal to X lookup key symbol. And then we pass in the key and 0, and that will return to us a key symbol. So I'm going to look up what this is and see if these are equivalent or what. Okay, after doing a bunch of searching, I think what I'm going to go from here, I'm not even sure if this works correctly, is I'm going to go to where we have this mapping, the key event 32, and we have the X11.go. I think, we need the keyboard or keyboard X11.go. Keyboard.x11.go. And we're just going to copy this guy, paste it over here, change our thing here for Linux or Darwin to keyboard key. And we're going to get the native key. And here's where we're going to do the same kind of thing. Keep the default, come up here, remove all those, and get all the keyboard guys here, paste them, and then set up the cases to return these. Return, and this will be upon case some value, and I think it's a 2-byte value here for X11. So I'm actually going to jump over to Linux and work out these because it'll be a lot easier for me to get the key code values from that. Okay, so essentially I've got the keysim.def here. I went through these and grabbed all the keys I needed and put them all into this big list. So from here, I added a terminator here because it was missing. And the last thing I need to do is put the events for the key down and up here. So I'm just going to print out what the keys are when we press them. So I'm going to press a key down, key down, key down, key down. And let's take a look at our... So it looks like key down is 2, key up is 3. Case 2, return key down. Case 3, key up. And we still have the other print for the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, W, X, Y, and Z. I pressed the wrong one. Now we're going to go across the top row. Should have been... So the grave accent, I think, is missing. That one's blank. Okay. And do these 3 characters, this one, this one. Okay. The quote is wrong. Question mark. That should actually be a slash, not a question mark. That should be a dot. That should be a comma. Oh, it thinks shift is being held. Okay, let's try that again. Comma, dot, slash, terminate, quote. Okay. So shift, the key up, I don't think is happening very well when I do shift. Okay, might have to double check that. But we're missing the grave accent, and the quote. So we can see what keys those are. We'll just print those out. tdio.h. Oh, key release isn't even doing anything. There we go. So key press and key release, we'll do that, and then we'll do a printf. We'll put in the code we get, and we'll compare that. And I'll just make this, instead of a D, I'll make it an X, and F flush std out. So we'll press the keys that we know aren't working. The grave accent is 60, the quote is 27. Okay, and let's see. So 60 and 27. Let's see if anything else was amiss. That one I already got. Okay. So right shift, left shift. Make sure the right shift is working. Yep. Control Alt. Okay. So what did I say? 60 and 27? 60 and 27. So we come back here, we go to back quote. This should be 0060, which is what? 0060. Grave. Huh, I thought I did that. And then the quote is, oh, I put that in the wrong one. Oh, that is back quote. Okay, then the quote is supposed to be 27 in hex, 27 in hex, 0027. Apostrophe, of course. I was looking for quote. Okay. So that should cover our two other key codes. So let's get rid of the printing here. And we'll do one more test here. Go to the debug console. Make sure that quote's in there. Make sure that back quote is in there. Okay. And then we'll get rid of this print, and we will call Linux done. Cool, or X11 done. Cool, so that's it for this finally.